Hello guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some legendary doubles gameplay. It's taking place on the map Skyline. Not too often you get to play on the map Skyline, so I always relish the opportunity to do so. And luckily enough, this time I managed to pick up a pretty solid gameplay. Playing with my good friend Ubernik. Ubernik is pretty much the ideal doubles partner for me. We play with each other on a regular basis, and we've got a pretty solid chemistry going on. At the beginning of the game, Ubernik picks up quite a few deaths, so he decides to go on a more backseat role and play support, which means that I have a better chance of getting the gameplay. Me and Ubernik are both pretty aggressive players, and when we're both trying to go for the gameplay at the same time, we have a habit of cock-blocking one another. But anywho, I had a topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys today, and it's regarding the idea of limiting your expectations. I think being able to limit your expectations is one of the most invaluable skills as a gamer, because some of the biggest disappointments in gaming history come down to the idea of people overhyping a game. And there's been a ton of examples of this for me, from my personal standpoint. One of the bigger ones that stands out to me is going from Halo 3 into Halo Reach. Halo 3 was such an exceptional game to me, and I had placed such a high weight on the sequel. The trailers were exceptionally well done for Halo Reach. I feel like they nailed the trailers. They nailed the beta to me. Even though there were problems with the beta, it felt like if they could develop upon some of those problems, it could be one of the best games I'd ever played. And just going into the game, I had too much hype. And, you know, one of the problems with gamers is that we often have big imaginations. We often let them run wild. And sometimes we make a game fail before it's even left the door, because there's no way that it can possibly tick all these boxes that we're creating. Sometimes games have to make certain sacrifices because they just don't have the time or resources to be able to tick each box the exact way we want them to. And there's been examples of the opposite of this happening, where I didn't have high expectations, but the game turned out being a lot better as a result. Games like Far Cry 3 and Tomb Raider were two games that I had no hype for whatsoever. They were part of franchises that I wasn't really that interested in, but I decided to pick them up on a whim, and as I had no, prior expectations going into those experiences, I ended up getting a lot out of it, and it was something that although I didn't know I was looking for, they were enjoyable experiences. I think some of the best things about playing new games is sometimes what you weren't looking for, what you weren't expecting. Halo 4, for example, what I didn't know I was going to be enjoying and loving about the game was stuff like the thruster pack. Stuff like the godlike hit detection. I didn't expect it to be as good as that, and it came as a massive surprise and an awesome, addition to the game when I was playing it. The armor abilities in general, I think, were greatly enhanced in this game, and armor abilities was something that I just did not care about and was not looking forward to in any way, and I'd love to see a return in some sort of Infinity playlist of, additions like the thruster pack, etc. But in general, I think just games nowadays, like, the trailers are so well done, the marketing is so strong that the developers themselves can have a fault in this, because they try and let gamers let their imagination run wild. They try and, create the idea that anything is possible. Destiny, I feel like, has done this to some extent, and the more recent trailer, where they actually showed off a lot more gameplay, has left people feeling quite a bit more underwhelmed, because it wasn't everything they had imagined. I think what people imagined from Destiny was a game where, the only limit was your adventurousness, I suppose. It was like a wild, wild west in space, where you could just go around, the world was your oyster, and you could go from planet to planet, exploring every single planet, and maybe there'd be some sort of competitive multiplayer. But it's kind of hard to, not do that as a gamer, to not want more, to not want the best, and especially as the publishers and the developers are encouraging that, it can be quite hard to let us get carried away, I suppose. And really what I'm trying to come away from with this commentary is, don't paint an unrealistic expectation for what games can give to you, because I'm almost certain that there will be things about Halo 5 that are disappointing to some people. If you look at the Waypoint forums, nobody ever agrees on everything. Even games like Halo 3 and Halo 2, which were widely critically acclaimed for their time, they still had problems that people disliked it for. There were still, gameplay elements that didn't suit people's taste. For example, the equipment in Halo 3, a lot of Halo 2 players thought that overcomplicated the issue. A lot of people didn't like the change from the combat evolved pistol into the Halo 2 BR. And what I'm trying to say is you should be more open-minded to what's new about the game and, you know, at least give it a good chance at the beginning of the game, because it's very easy to be jaded by a game when you first start playing it, especially if you have extremely high expectations, because you know, there's going to be something in the game that is different to the formula you had it in your mind. There's going to be something that comes as a shock, there's going to be something that you have to adapt to, and there's going to be something new in the metagame, and a lot of the time this can end up being one of the best improvements in the game, but you definitely have to give it the benefit of the doubt, and you definitely have to give it a fair try. Anyway, I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. A little bit of a rambly commentary, but I have been Modest Major. Thank you for watching. Peace.